was hoping that we probably going to meet again this year in Vienna for this Vienna conference. And thanks so much for inviting me to participate. This is my first time here. I think it's really an effective campus that we have, like more nice community, a bit like Oxford College kind of thing. So, and I try a lot to do many things in this talk. So, and I haven't time myself either. So I think what we can do, we can have questions in between, so we can just discuss already during my talk. One thing, and Jordan was mentioning that I have been working a lot on population, climate change, and the environment, actually mostly on migration. So fertility is actually the really famous person. So I know that there are many fertility experts here, so I hope to learn from you as well. So what I try to do is to see if there is any link between change and fertility. So I'm trying to show or discuss to share with you some of the new results that we have been working on. But before talking about fertility, so I thought that some of the things that I've been working on quite a lot is to look at the exposure to climate change and some kind of behavior, such as concern about climate change or about wanting to green climate. And we did find this relationship quite robust, quite strong. We have worked before on the European parliamentary election data from 1990 to 2020 at the aggregated level, and found the relationship actually that if people get exposed to particularly extreme hot temperatures, then that area people tend toward more extreme climate. So we're working on the individual level data and also find that relationship. And the causally goes through first people get exposed and they see it, right? So they're concerned about climate change. And then they may start thinking about what is the green climate. So we found that type of relationship in different indicators that we use. So the next question would be that climate change also affecting demographic behavior as we have in United. And why is it relevant? Why the field is relevant? Maybe if we can give you the bigger picture. So I have the European project from the European Commission that we want to look at the impact of climate change on population dynamics. And the reason behind the idea of this project is when we do population demographers, when we do population projection, we would think about how future demographic behavior would look like. Right? So we do have some assumptions about fertility, family planning, contraceptive use. We do have some assumptions or ideas about how mortality will evolve. Not so much on migration, by the way. For those who go on migration, we know the developers don't touch so much about future migration trajectories. Net zero migration is a typical assumption that the UN uses, or to the Wittgenstein Center in Vienna, that's what we use for it. We try to change now as well. But all of these demographic projections haven't taken into account the potential impact of climate change. So climate change may have a feedback on fertility, on mortality, and on migration. So this kind of feedback that climate change may have. Or maybe directly, maybe heat or floods can kill, for instance. If heat episodes get increased, so do people die more? For instance, this would be the type of question that can be made. Similar thing, what people like to know, a lot of policymakers and the media is about migration. That's climate change, right? Not so we've been strangely, as I said, at the moment, we don't deal so much with migration in terms of projections, but there's a lot of work on climate change related migration from demographers, from geographers, and also from many fields. This is a field of interest. Less so, I think, what we don't know much is about climate change and what we think. This is the least demographic behavior that we have evidence on. And it would be relevant because if we want to know how the future population will evolve, we need to know these three components. So that's what I try to unpack. With potential impact of climate change on the behavior. So what do we know about this? So what do we think if we follow maybe the kind of the very theoretical or empirical literature that we have on maybe natural disaster or some kind of shock? What do these shocks have an impact on fertility behavior? There could be some direct effects. So direct means you get exposed to certain climatic factors, such as heat, for instance. So it may have some biological impact. And we found that in what we found, people found it also in the animals, right? So it can affect sperm reproduction and also the ovary reproduction of women as well. So there are some evidence, biological evidence that the heat does affect reproductive health. So typically it's go more in a negative direction if we find at all the biological impact of extreme heat on fertility, that would be on the negative side. Then it's likely to be, I think it's not only about fertility behavior, but also for other type of impact that you may be interested in. So climate change is likely to affect our life indirectly through affecting other factors that affect our health and well-being, such as perhaps climate change may increase droughts. Drought affect crop yields, for instance. With reduction in agricultural production, it may affect income, it affects food security. Through that channel, you may need to choose to migrate. That you may reduce your food consumption. Typically, women maybe give up some meals for the children or for the husband. So all of the, or you may have to work harder. You may have to walk further away to fetch water, for instance, in the type of rural area, low-income context, for instance. So through all this indirect, let's say, through all these mechanisms, it can affect reproductive health, affect your outcomes if you work hard, for instance. So it may affect sexual behavior, miscarriage. It may change your fertility goals. So that is this indirect way that climate change may affect our life. Similar for migration, also mortality as well. Then reviewing the literature, and also it can have the positive, some literature comes out with a positive effect. For instance, one may have, if you experience certain type of really strong natural hazard or disaster, like tsunami, for instance, so there was some evidence that fertility did go up because you may want to replace the children who have already passed away, so you may observe that type of increase in fertility also for the cyclone as well. And one may do this type of what it's called insurance effect or hoarding effect. So if you anticipate, I think if you think about demographic transition, no, typically in the first stage, if a lot of children that have been born or will be born will die, you kind of anticipate that what you will do is you will have also the high fertility in that context. So it may also be that. That's what the theory kind of tells us. We may have a positive relationship. Now, I think I do have some economists in this room. You can see I want to discuss this. Economists also made this paper. This quite famous also actually. This paper for it's based more on the theoretical economics model as opposed to the empirical model. So sort of the idea is actually fertility may increase. Also under climate change, this PMHO, PMHO, some of you may be familiar with different climate carbon emission scenarios. But what they find is basically depend on the scenario, but fertility may increase, and there's a logic behind that, and we can discuss. Because I'm a bit skeptical, I have to say. So the idea that fertility may increase under this context is for climate change can affect it's not always every area in the world, but in general we would expect a decline in crop yield. I think it would affect rice, maize, probably wheat. It depends because certain places like Siberia, you will be able to grow wheat much better than other areas. So, but in general, to sum up, maybe on the area climate change would lead to reduction in crop yields. Then it means that agriculture products would become more costly. And if agriculture products become more expensive, you would make more money. So what you would do, you would want to have a higher number of children because they work in the farm. So you don't invest that much anymore in the quality, or human capital or education, but you invest in the number of children. So due to this logic, then you may see higher fertility. So I'm not sure because they didn't base on the data, it's based on the idea that fertility would increase under climate change. Then we move on to the negative one. Also, I see many younger people here. And if you ask, it's really, I don't need to do a survey anymore. So if I have the sample of say age 18 to 35 and ask them if you're concerned about climate change or not, over 90% of the almost 99 say yes. That we can affect. But of course, at the demographer, we have this age effect, cohort effect, but for this generation, this cohort effect, that's quite evident. So people are worried about climate change. But also this idea that that we may have some anxiety. So you may have heard that people may say that now I do not want children because of climate change. So it may have a different type of family style and intention as well. So I think I talk about this physiological effect. Yeah, this and this type of social effect, this concern about climate change can go for two reasons, right? So it can be we're not sure climate change brings uncertainty. It looks bad because now people use the term climate crisis, ecological crisis. And if you think that it's the word doesn't look good, so maybe you don't want yet to bring another life to face this crisis. So it can be the negative reproductive goal. Or some people may say, also, I am worried about my carbon footprint. Because one person means more consumption, more use of transportation, energy use, and so on. So it can also be that reason that we start hearing also. People may say that. So it can be negative. So how do we study this? So we have some theory behind, and if we want to assess or if we want to capture whether climate change affects fertility behavior or not. So what we do is we do in two kind of approach. So I would show you 4 studies, but it's really ongoing. Really ongoing until this morning, actually. So I think it's so new, so I still have to digest. Okay, so the 2 studies that I would share with you, the result would be around the fertility intentions. So sort of, I think many of you would actually do study fertility. Can I see the hands? Fertility, put that details. So I could ask for your interpretation as well. Also, those who don't study fertility can also help too. Fertility intention is probably, I don't know how many percent of the correlation with considered to be good predictor of actual fertility to a certain point, actually. So we're going to do that also looking at how environmental concern is linked with fertility goals or fertility intentions. And then another type of research that one could do is also the type of exposure approach. And that is more what I have been doing for other types of outcomes. So what the good thing when you study about climate-related factors is you don't really need, ideally, what we always want longitudinal data, but we don't always have longitudinal data. But the good thing is, even though it's cross-sectional data, the climate type of data that one has access, I mean, all can access, all can access this. We already start having temperature data, rainfall, maybe not floods data, it comes later, but from 1900 up until today, right? So pretty much you can always observe the exposure, the type of climatic events before whatever outcome that you want to measure. So say the surveys happen here, but I always know as long as I know where to do this, and ideally what we want is if we have the geolocated data or even the province level, subnational level, it's really good enough. The US is a big country, maybe state level, one to find some effect, but ideally going down would be better. But even that is not US state is really big. It's not too bad. But the European kind of province level is quite good. Anyway, what I wanted to say, you can always match whatever you observe. In this particular case, birth record, or can be migration, can be infant mortality, can be voting that we did. And then you look at if people get exposed to heat waves, or droughts, or floods before that event that you observe. So it's not too bad, even though you don't have the longitudinal data, but at least you know if they get exposed or not. to basically that. So we can do that as well for fertility data. Yeah, so I didn't have time to put that in, but this 4 studies that I tried to share with you. Okay, so I mentioned first, so now it's about this fertility intention study. You may have seen in the news sometimes this people say, I don't want to have kids because of climate change. This idea is relatively new. I think it started more or less around the time of the Friday for Future movement. That's back in 2018, and of course COVID happened, kind of slow down a little bit, but still it come up quite regularly actually in the news. So at some point Prince Harry also said that after they had 2 kids. Yeah, they said, okay, 2 is enough because of climate change, we don't want to. Something like that. People started kind of related this to climate change. We don't want children. Yeah. So what we can do is to try to capture this concern about climate change and kind of fit it into this new, relatively new theories about the uncertainty. Actually, we did a review of the new book by Jenny Timothy. She wrote about the uncertainty in demographic decision, demographic behavior decision. And it's kind of, it's around that. The people found before 10 or so years ago with economic crisis, with all this recession and uncertainty. So that's a link with fertility, reduction in fertility. And also with conflict, for instance, or maybe with pandemic, if anything, we always observe the fertility decline, right? So linking this with the idea of not only economic uncertainty, but uncertainty in general. So now the more started wanting to know if climate change conveys a lot of uncertainty, does it have any link also with fertility intention? And that's what we're going to do. A very simple question. Do people who are concerned about future climate change, does it have any relationship with the cross-section of data? So we don't know what caused what, does it influence with the intention or not? Sort of based on the idea of this uncertainty. So the first study, what we did is we used the Italian data, it's collected by the Italian National Statistics Office. What they do is they ask people a lot of questions on families, of the characteristics, and this particular survey happened to ask also what people think about climate change. And in fact, the majority of people think that climate change is a problem or a big problem in the future. Only 6%. It's an Italian representative sample of adult population over 18 years old. So not only young people, but we really see back in 2016, most people are concerned or think that climate change is a problem. And then we have a battery of questions on fertility. As I said, some people who study fertility may help me in the future, so because we can influence also the design of the survey in the future. Because I think they depend on the question that you get asked, you get different type of answers. No, like I'm planning to have children in the next 3 years. So that's quite precise time. And then people can choose certainly not, probably yes, certainly yes. But then the survey asks the next one also, if they say no, what about in the future, like anytime, if you don't plan in the next 3 years, but are you planning, you can have a child in any case in the future. And then they also ask what about your kind of ideal family size? Like, how many children would you like to have in total in your life? So we also have that type of question as well. Like it's ideal family. And that's like some mismatch also. Right? People who may say no here, but in the lifetime they may say yes. In fact, this thing should match, right? Like ideal family. We have some mismatch too. Maybe the question working or yeah. So we can jump straight to the results. So this is the odds ratio. So people who say so we just combine the category. Those who say no, like probably no, or certainly no, probably yes, or certainly yes, and the yes. So if it's the next 3 years, so we split the sample. So I think yeah, it's also quite complex to capture this. So people who are childless at the time of the survey or the parents. But for the moment, just try to correlate it with this climate change concerns or no SARS, no significant relationship. It may be the power issue, so I'm not sure because if anything, the parents tend to have the negative relationship. Like if they see that climate change is a problem or the biggest problem, it's reduced the intention to have a child next year. But we can jump to the next one too. And that's a pathway result that I need your help too. For the parents, that's what one may expect. If you're concerned that you reporting that you're less likely to want children at any point in the future. The child as individual is the opposite, it's a positive relationship. Strong as well. And it keeps coming up also in this one. This one is about ideal number of children. So the parents controlling for parity, doing this medical status, education, whatever you think is relevant, we control for that. So negative for the parents, positive for the childless one. Please think why? Because I'm trying hard, so I try to probably extend a little bit. I don't know. So one thing, this is what we may expect. So that's why you're concerned. Parents means you already have children, and you may be concerned. We will be affected with protection, so we don't know actually. Because you already have children, so you may be concerned precisely for your children. And then you're less likely to want the next one. Maybe that. But childless individual, I just wonder, maybe there's some selection going on actually. Because it's a positive. You remember childless individual, if you're concerned, the more you're concerned, the higher number of children you want. And I'm not sure if this is the way to try to interpret it. Because this is Italy, right? It's a higher people we use the bachelor, so tertiary education as a reference point. It's a lower education that want less children. So the high education want more children. And this is not actually, I don't know if it's a surprise, but I mean, when you not really, can you tell me why?
I think high SES in the US right now today.
Yes.
It's the
It's the same. And yeah, but it flips at some point. You know, like that also in European countries that my colleagues who work more on the people have found in the past, I'm not sure in the US past 5 years.
Children is luxury good.
Yeah, and that's a similar thing. So I think it's slightly positive, but we know for sure people who are highly educated are more likely to be concerned about climate change, more likely to vote for green parties. Same with the employment data, the workforce work one more. So I'm not sure that maybe something around that is positive connection. I good opinion on that. I don't have theories yet to explain this finding, but it seems to be consistent. Yeah.
So have you thought at all about just people thinking or planning about the future? So if you have a variable that just measures people's orientation.
I write this now. Yeah.
For the future, that at least for the previous slide.
Yeah. Yeah, which we don't have, but I try to see what would be the type of
question or something that we can capture, but we don't have this.
Because what I can do, because we have the data at the municipality level.
I mean, we know the municipality where people work. I'm not sure if there's anything I would get that I can match. That's probably something, but thinking about the future is quite easy. Maybe economic conditions in the area. I don't know. As I'm thinking of to stretch a little bit towards that direction. So that's one study for us to think about how to interpret this. I move to the next one now. The next one is, now we did a survey ourselves in 5 countries. These 5 countries, Italy, the UK, France, Germany, and Spain. And it's targeting the young people now, so it's 18 to 34 years old. And we can look at 2 things in this one. So we can, as I mentioned, that we want to know also when the people say they're concerned about climate change and if it's linked to fertility, is it because you worry about the impact of your child on
the ecological system, or if you're concerned about the future of your child. And then we also have the question that we ask them, have you been exposed to natural hazards or not? We want to see. So again, I'm not sure if this is the best design way of question because we can still think of how to do the survey better actually. So now we ask again if the respondents were planning to have a child in the next 3 years, and the majority, 18 to 34 years old, as what we expect, said no. Probably not, or certainly not, 60%. So if they say no, we want to know what are the reasons. And there's a battery of list of respondents they can choose from, and it's multiple. So they may say, oh, because of financial reason, because worried about the economic future, or many things. So they can choose one of this. I don't have a partner. That's also reason. And then we have these two things about worry about the future climate that may affect my children, and also how much type of reason. Then I'm sure many things here. So as I don't know if as we want to expect, but maybe it's quite expected maybe that the majority are worried more about if they say climate change, probably the majority is more on the future of your child as opposed to the impact. But people also say that, and it seems to be so. But there may be a pattern if you tend to say that. You may be worried about the future in general. So it seems to be slightly also this climate change future, economic futures tend to be, it has slightly stronger correlations amongst them as well. So that maybe the direction that we could investigate too. Oh, actually, responding to your question, maybe this one, you're worried, slightly more worried about the future in general. Maybe because of fresh results. Then we look at the if you get affected or if you experience, but this is self-reported. If you get experience hit by natural disasters, and are you likely to say you're concerned about climate change or not? So those who are strongly hit, so this one is those who say that they want kids, right? So if they strongly hit, so those who strongly hit by disaster also to report a bit more and concerned about the future, slightly more on the impact. So they find something around here too. One said that it was slightly passive, so those who are moderately hit, want kids in the next 3 years. We try to actually investigate also who are they. I don't remember well the result because there may be selection, but one thing that we can do further here is to match it with the actual exposures. It's not their report, and that's we haven't done that yet. And then the differences by countries. Italy and Spain, we would tend to have apart from people really concerned about economic reasons as probably it's not a surprise for us. It's not a surprise compared to Germany, for instance. Economic concern is one of the strong reasons, but also tend to be concerned about the future of the child, slightly more than other countries. And then we dig a bit further into action effect. Those who tend to say that they're concerned about the future of the child tend to be those with younger ages who tend to be the students. We usually have the job say that are they like not in work, not studying or not. So that's the kind of direction we're trying to do now to try to dig further in the nationality, the different like demographic characteristics by area. So there's still ongoing work to investigate. So and try more interaction terms, matching actual kind of. So that this work kind of stopped here. These two works that still currently. And one thing I think, as I said, many of you are fertility experts, this survey of young people 18 to 34 years old, even though they say that for kids in the next 3 years, which is probably as we would expect, we don't know if this concern about climate change the actual fertility in the future. Right? We still need to wait. And this is so new that it's really hard for us to imagine what would be when our younger people finish their reproductive career. So I think it's still the few that if someone's cut the PhD now we don't know, we really don't know, and I need that because my idea is we want to do the population projection accounting for this climate feedback. So we don't know what we're going to do about this. I think it's going to be declining, but because the trend in fertility is declining anyway, without climate change, but still I think it's the area that we need more information. But we may need to wait also. Then I would move to this exposure type of approach that we use the bird statistics and then match it with the weather type of data. So one is low middle income country, as you can maybe guess, DHS data. The second study is use the municipality level bird and the findings. It's really I'm surprised. The results are the same for these different type of data set. That's and seems to be robust. And then you look at the results, okay, so for the low middle income countries, what we do is we pull all the DHS surveys that we can. So in total, yeah, that we can match the subnational category. So it's a aggregated level, age specific fertility rates at the subnational level across across 1970 and 2020. And the idea is actually this database didn't exist, so we want to put this out also as a database on estimated age specific fertility rate at subnational level. So this was mainly actually not me by my PhD student, and he did check our estimates with the UN estimate at the yearly level. It seems to be the same pattern, but we did it monthly. And monthly is important for this type of research because, as you know, birth is seasonal too, no? So trying still to harmonize to make it refine, and this should be out also for public use data. And then as I said, so coordinated with the weather data. The measurement is anomalies. Anomalies meaning we have the reference period. Over the years, I think it's between 1983 to 2016 used as the reference, and then see if the temperature or rainfall of that particular subnational region in that particular month, the temperature or the rainfall deviates from this average. And in general, if you look at this, normally temperature has been rising. Rainfall is a bit more irregular. The temperature it's scary, actually, I have to say, everywhere. If you look at the US data, Europe data, Asia, Africa, it's always in the decreasing trend, rising and decreasing temperature. Yeah. And then we also have the index that can measure drought as well, so anomalies. These are the areas that we cover. As you see, as I said, it's a subnational region. India is a bit big. So the big countries, the rest we have is state level. So we also have this geographical region that maybe the size is between different countries. And then, yeah, as I said, it's an age-specific fertility rate, and then is the interest. If you get exposed to these anomalies, does it affect this SFR, so age-specific fertility rate or not? With a lot of control. So this is a typical models, by the way. If you change the outcome, the migration rate, whatever other outcomes, the typical thing would be you fixed effect control for time fixed effect, region fixed effect, because what you allow, the only thing you allow is the deviation from the average. That's what you want, or I want, or we want to capture. We look for the age world region and so on as well. Actually, there was this standard error, by the way, it's my student because he's also doing economics, so he said this is probably better because we also have we use cluster standard error or this one, but he said this one is better. If you know, if you want that we have to change, let us know. So I cannot even explain this why he's showing that one, but it seems to be a good one. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I want to show. So this is the pool data which is across all the years. What you see here is the month lag, and the outcome here is the specific fertility rate in each region, in each month. So we see one effect here. So if you experience 1 month before, this is the heat extreme. So this one is control for temperature. This patient anomaly control for what we want to look at is the temperature anomaly. So we observe the decline in its specific fertility rate. More or less, I mean, it's overlap, but we can say it's a reduction here. Then again, in the 9 months and the 10th month. So if you think that if you experience 9 months before, so this is around the time of birth. After pregnancy, so you get to be pregnant, maybe 9 months, and then here you would have, or even 10 months after. So there's a decline in birth around here. Now we have to try to interpret why this month. My guess now it's, so we have 2 guesses. So I just discussed with home this morning. I thought it's impact mortality. So this would be if you experience just 1 month before. So imagine that women have been pregnant, no 1 month, 1, 2 months, 3 months, 4. They didn't experience anything until 1 month before the birth, and then we found a decline. Is it true that maybe children we have infant mortality? We can check with DHS. We haven't done that yet. But I found some literature showing that exposure to heat may have affect stillbirth. Not sure. In some countries, they found that. Cole said it can be preterm birth. So actually, if it's preterm birth, I should observe actually here at month 0 that birth increase. So we still not sure, but something's happening here. Then here it would be, if we think it's a postponement of conception, it can be. Yeah? So if you think that maybe it's not only heat in the sense that it's hot. So I don't conceive, maybe it's not that. But heat is also related to agricultural production, food security, and other things. Heat tends to be, for those who work on climate variable, tend to be the most consistent predictors of any outcome you want to look at. Gender-based violence, conflict, migration, you name it, typically voting for green parties, we tend to find extremely strong effect on just heat. We try with drought because it makes more sense to me, because drought and natural production, but inconsistency, we find something particularly heat. So it may do something beyond just being hot, could be heat stress, it may affect, I don't know, other things, like I said, the agricultural production income that we haven't measured yet. But here it can be postponed and it gets kind of up later on. And I think there's many things for us to think about, because this climate variable doesn't change the quantity, or it's just shift timing. I think that's also the question that we need to think about. And then as I said that this time different controls, so we still find it's really the same. It's quite robust actually. No control with precipitation, which is anomaly, with drought, this is a drought index tool. Always show this thing, it's 9, 10 month reduction. Then we have this is something so quite complex for me to understand actually, because we can detrend the time trend. Fertility, what's happening with fertility has been declining. Also in low middle income countries, we have the data from 1971 to 2020. So we probably should add the time trend. We can also use 5-year dummies. Maybe it's a better way, because this monthly time trend is probably too much. And we don't know, the other thing is we don't know if the relationship between these climatic factors and fertility is linear or not. What kind of time trend we can control for? So it's a mixture. And then the only thing I want to show this particular graph is because when I was saying that, can it be preterm birth? Because if it is preterm birth, I should observe at this month that because kids don't, they didn't die as I thought that they have stillbirth infant mortality, but it's just shift because they were born slightly earlier in exposure to heat. Without this time trend control, we kind of found this increase. So this is something to be investigated. It's just like this new result that just came out, and whatever you think that we should do, I would be happy to know. Then the confidence interval is here. You don't see it. Or whatever is there's a gray line here actually. I think we should fix also this one, this cumulative effect. It's not the average. So what we do or what my student did, it's just summing up because the idea is what would be the longer term effect actually of all of these monthly heat shocks on fertility. So we just sum up the coefficients and see how it works. But I think we can do better than this. So this one kind of showing that probably is we accumulate this leading to the decline fertility, but we didn't average it. We should do the average. So it's still something to fix around here too. But if anything, it's like this one. So we can fix. I think we should accumulate the shock as well, like because you may not experience this one heat shock, maybe more, and what would be the effect of fertility that postponement always in these two shocks a lot, and we haven't done that yet. But now I'm going to move to Mexico and then I can solve. As I said, it's the same. We solve. The benefit of this data is it's go more downscale actually compared to the DHS. DHS we aggregate at the subnational, as you see India is a state of India, but this one is at the municipality level. Mexico. And it's DHS, as you know, it's a survey. This one is the birth registration. So we don't have the sampling to do birth records. Same different type of, and this is you can see the constituent. Anyone from Mexico here? Close to Mexico or no Mexico. I was just told because I was wondering about the municipality and so on. It's in the constitution of Mexico that like particularly the indigenous population can also you can create a municipality. You have the right to break the geographical region into new municipality because as you can see here, this is where they have a lot of indigenous population around here. So it's really detailed the geographical region. No, I'm saying this because we thought the next step is to look at the heterogeneity in this effect because so it's also a big country. We have the mountainous area and other areas. Also, we haven't done that yet, but I think it's interesting in itself. Just one country, but we've got a lot of things to look at too. Different climate and different criteria, different in terms of geographical region too. And I see that, but it's exactly the same. And Home also ran this work, and he said he didn't manipulate any significant effect. It's exactly the same. Because I was also surprised that I thought I'm looking at DHS data, but it wasn't. It's a Mexico one. It's the same. And then he did a similar thing also. Even with the control, we find this really maybe different size of the effect. The pattern is exactly the same. Also, yeah, okay, yeah. So and then we emphasize that this time trend that I was, and also if you remember this, if anything is preterm birth, we may see it here as well when we don't control for the time trend. So it's almost surprising to see exactly the same. It's also for me, I think it's quite convincing. We just need to explain that what's going on here, like what see. And that's it, I think. Yeah, because you can see the color here. So here, yeah. So that's made a lot of difference. How do we deal with this time trend? Because as I said, we need to fix it with cumulative effect. But if we accumulate it with linear time trend, we see fertility picking up. With 5-year dummy, it's in the middle. Without time trends going down. So something's going on. How we model that, and I can stop around here. Just the next step, or wrapping up. I think, yeah, something's going on. Exposure to climatic events affect fertility. I just need to know if it's on the really on the decline or it's just a postponement. For our population protection. And then we still can do a lot on the heterogeneity. And then I think another way to go is also if someone interested to PhD on this. There's many things going on before you have the fertility to know, because some evidence point out in Bangladesh, for instance, it leads to exposure to deviation in rainfall, anomalies in rainfall, it leads to early marriage, for instance. Early marriage also means early fertility, for instance, or it can be postponement, like we may observe maybe health channels, maybe infantilities, that there's a things that you can look at also before we look at fertility. I'm gonna stop here. Thank you.